All right, third grade friends, now that we've learned to draw things that are 3D, like spheres and cones and cylinders, we're going to use those things in a snowman drawing that we're going to shade later to make it look three-dimensional. So let's take everything we know about drawing it 3D and include it in this awesome assignment. First, you're going to need a piece of light blue construction paper, and you'll notice that I have it portrait format because this is a portrait of a tall snowman. So the short edge is at the top and bottom. The long edge of the paper is on the right and left, and I'm going to write my name and class code 3 and your teacher's name, J, C, whatever their name is for their class code. Remember to write this lightly. That way if you make a mistake on the front and you need to erase and change, use the back, you can. All right, now we have flipped it, and we're going to envision or imagine in our mind a snowman. We know that a snowman has 3 spheres of snow, a large, a medium, and a small, but then we're gonna need to leave a space above for the hat and a little space below for the landscape where he's standing. So I'm gonna take my pointer finger and I'm gonna draw where I think the bottom sphere needs to go, and then one in the middle that's overlapping, the small one and a hat. I've got to kind of get an idea in my mind of where that's going to go. I can also use my hands like this to estimate how big those shapes need to be. And so I would say the bottom sphere is probably about the size of an apple, maybe one of those giant apples, or a giant orange, or maybe a softball size. Now I'm going to take my pencil and really lightly draw it, because the first time around it might not be a perfect circle. I might have to erase and change. Need a really light line for a round shape. Leave a little space underneath your snowman for the snow he's standing on. And I'm just erasing the lines that are too far out or too far in, because I went around a couple times around the circle to get a good round shape. And you know, snowballs, when you roll them through the snow, they're not perfectly symmetrical, so it's okay if your round shape has some lumps and bumps. Now I'm going to start the corner, the top left corner of this sphere, and I'm going to put most of a round circle shape in for the middle snowball. It's going to go from top corner over here to top corner over there. If it's too big, erase and move those lines in. If it's too small, or just move them out a little bit on one side or the other. I'm going to move this right side in. Good, now let's do one more. Slightly smaller. This is close to the size of a tennis ball, or maybe smaller. It's bigger than a ping pong ball. There we go. Awesome. Do you have 3 overlapping? The bottom one, we see all of it. The second sphere is being overlapped by the first. We see most of the curve. And the top one's being overlapped by the middle one. It's like we're sitting down here below the snowman looking up, and this sphere is coming out the top. Let's put a horizontal line for the horizon line behind the snowman, so it looks like he's standing in a place. We have an illusion of sky and ground. And now let's talk about the snowman's hat. Now the snowman's hat is a top hat, which means it's a little like a cylinder. It's going to have a brim with the tall stovepipe cylinder that goes up. Now this part of the brim is flat, and it's a circle. It goes around the snowman's head, but we know when a circle is tipped back into space like this, it looks not like a circle but more like an oval, and that's what's happening. We have that hat, that brim, and it's being tipped up a little bit on the snowman's head, so that round circle ends up looking like an oval. So we're going to start here at the snowman's ear and make a wide oval that goes around his other ear. Again, you may have to draw this shape a couple times. Like most of an oval, it looks like a C tipped over on its side, kind of. And it gives the illusion that the hat is going behind the snowball. Good job. Now, the top of the hat is the cylinder part, kind of like our glue stick we drew. I'm going to make 2 vertical lines up for the sides of the cylinder. And because that hat is tipped up, just like our glue stick, if it's tipped down, we see the cap but if it's tipped up in the air and we're looking at the front edge, we just see the curve of the cylinder here. It's a lot like this curve on the hat. We're just gonna scoot it up. Beautiful, now you have a cylinder hat with a flat brim. Let's decorate it with a second curve line through the middle for the ribbon. Let's go in that same direction, curving up and over. You can decorate it with a bow or a sprig of holly there on the hat if you want, or a buckle. If you want to do a bow, it's just a round shape with 2 sideways ovals. The foreshortened top of the bow, and then 2 lines down and curves back into the center. That makes it look like a bow. Holly, we draw the berry shape, a diagonal line coming out of the berries. And then I like to kind of turn it and draw a pointy M shape on top and a pointy double shape on the bottom. So that's what I would put here on his hat, some kind of little decoration. I'm gonna make the bow 2 little ovals, curves down and in. Make it look like he's all fancied up for the winter holiday season. Good. Now let's add the snowman's face. We're gonna make a cone nose. We learned the cone has a point. So I'm gonna draw a sideways V, but that the other end of the cone is round, so I'm going to make a foreshortened half of an oval for the end of the cone nose. Looks like a carrot. You can even add a couple little broken lines for the little texture on the carrot, like where the roots come out of the carrot. It's kind of bumpy. I can add spheres for eyes and coal pieces for the mouth. I'm going to add arms that come out from the sides, or just stick arms, and then at the end I'm going to draw Y shapes and V shapes that look like branches. Great, now let's give that snowman cold weather accessories. Needs a scarf, it's cold out there. So I'm gonna draw a curve around his neck with a sphere at the corner. This is a scarf. Just sphere at the corner for the knot on the scarf. And then I'm gonna draw sets of parallel lines. You know, parallel lines are ones that are going the same direction and evenly spaced, so they're not gonna ever run into one another. At the end of the parallel lines, connect it. And then do another set like that off to the side, the other end of his scarf blowing in the wind, connect the end. If you want, you can add some buttons to the belly. You've done it, you've drawn a 3D snowman. Next week we'll shade it in to make it look like spheres rather than circles.